Hello you guys. So today I thought I would make a short relaxing video showing how I cleanse my personal space with sage, with the herb sage. And first let's go out into my little garden in the backyard. My husband and I grow some herbs and sage is one of them. Now sage grows naturally here in the Southwest where I live. But some people get their sage bundles to smudge with at different places like religious or metaphysical shops, spiritual shops. There are places on Etsy which sell sage bundles, and there are different kinds of plants and flowers that some people put in their sage bundles aside from the herb sage. Sometimes lavender can be used, even rose petals, different things, different other herbs, depending on what your needs are. And I can go through those kinds of things on a later video, but many places do sell sage bundles now for cleansing. Usually we plant a couple of kinds of sage, white sage, and then the regular kind that grow here wild. And I planted this one bush many years ago, and it comes up every year. We don't have to do anything to it. And so let's go and I'll show you where I get my sage from. This is my sage bush, and this year I'm only growing one kind of sage. Usually I grow two kinds of sage, white sage and regular sage. This grows naturally out here in this area, southwest of the country. And so what I do is I just pick about 4 stems worth, which is a good bunch about this big, and I hold them upside down and I tie a string around them, and then I hang them from right there to dry. And in a couple of days they're totally dry. Now before I do that, before I hang them up to dry, I use string. I use this kind of string and I wrap it around the whole entirety length of the bundle of sage. And so before I hang the bundle of sage that I picked, I get the string, I start at the bottom, and I wrap the string very tightly around the bundle of sage here. Now this was done not very tightly at all. This is not a good way to wrap your sage. It's too loose, okay? You want a really tight wrap around with the string. And so once you do that, you light one end of it. So you need a receptacle to keep the sage in and keep the ashes in while you're cleansing your space. And I use a mother of pearl shell. Some people use an iron pot, anything that is somewhat fireproof, that won't bust or burn if it has the lit sage on it or next to it. And what I do is I fill my my abalone shell with some rocks. Now this abalone shell has a couple of holes in it on this side, and that's why I picked the big rocks. Now I used to have an iron container that I would keep sand in, and that is what I would put my lit sage in as I went along through the house to cleanse the space. I can't put sand in this one because it has a couple of holes in it and the sand would come through, so that's why I use these rocks. And you want something that'll safely snuff out the sage if you need to. So you just light one end, which I'm going to do now. So again, it's supposed to be very tight, the string around it. This is much too loose, but I'm going to show you anyway. So you light the sage until it starts burning like this, and until you can see the smoke consistently come out the one end. And you want to keep it in this container here so that no ashes fall onto your floor or furnishings and start a fire. And so the smoke, as Native Americans can tell you, is very cleansing and purifying, and it's a very spiritual herb. They believe that was given to us by Great Spirit in order to have plant medicine, and a lot of people use it for cleansing. You can cleanse your home either, I like to put the smoke in places that are darkly lit, or behind doors and corners of the room, places where I feel like stagnant energy accumulates. And sometimes I will just sage around my whole body, including my feet. And now sometimes, as you see, the sage will go out. So you want to really light it so that it really starts to kind of start on fire, basically like this. And then as it goes out, so, and if you have to keep lighting it, that's fine too. So that's how you light it. And like I say, it's very cleansing. And sometimes I will cleanse my chakras with this, my spiritual energy centers in my body, and it instantaneously cleanses any negative space. And make sure that you open up a window to, one, let the negative energy out. It has to have a place to get out of your house, and two, to let the smoke also get out of your house. It's a very, very pungent fragrance. It's very strong and medicinal smelling, but it makes the room very peaceful. I can feel the difference after I sage a room or sage myself. And so that's how I sage my personal space, and how you can too. So thanks so much for watching. I hope this was informational and somewhat relaxing, and we'll talk to you soon on the next video.